We got a problem. Failed entrepreneur. I make crappy videos every day. Subscribe so you can argue with me. We got a problem with Corona in YouTube specifically. I'm going to vent and rant on them today. So YouTube is publicly stated, been in the news a little bit. They are actively pruning and blocking and taking down videos that go against the official World Health Organization Corona narrative, right? Not to be conspiracy guy. This is, you can go and see articles and videos they've made on this. If you post any content that goes against the World Health Organization's Corona claims, best procedures, whatever it is, if it's not from the WHO and you're putting it on YouTube, it's going to be taken down. That's what they're saying they're going to do. This is super scary. This is super wrong. This is super counterproductive. This is not a good thing. You should, if Corona doesn't scare you, this definitely should. I think the poster boy for this, there was a video that was going around for a while on YouTube, maybe like 2 weeks ago. There were some doctors in California who did a little presser, I guess you could say. These are doctors from the ER who were just basically going over some recently released data and interpreting it from their point of view. These are ER doctors. I guess their failure is they don't work for the WHO. They're actually in the hospitals right now treating patients. And just looking at the numbers, they came to the conclusion that Corona, even though it is taking out a lot of people, is being vastly overstated. It is the cure is way worse than the disease. The death rate basically was below 1%. If you looked at the massive number of reported cases all throughout California, and there are people dying because there's such a massive amount of people that are being infected with this easily spreadable contagious disease. I think that we can agree on. But they were just basically saying that it doesn't seem to make sense to them in their professional point of view, in their educated view. These are ER doctors treating Corona patients every day, that having these massive lockdowns and these massive quarantines for something that is, again, in their point of view, I'm not saying it's official, these are two doctors. I would say their opinion is worth just as much as any other doctor, but whatever. That Corona is what we're seeing now, that we've had time and we've been able to crunch the numbers, is that it appears that Corona is less deadly than the flu. Now, obviously, it's a lot more serious for certain people, elderly, obese, and stuff like that. But in the general public, it's not the big bad wolf that we think it is. This would correlate with some other studies going out. I made a video a while ago on a research that came from Stanford University, where they did a test in a whole town, and to their surprise, I guess, I think like 45–50%, a massive amount of people in the town actually had Corona-like antibodies. So they actually had the sickness, didn't seem to know it, and actually had their bodies gotten rid of it, and unreported cases of Corona. Scientific research from a major university that would also back what these ER doctors were saying. And there's other examples of this as well. YouTube took the video down. You can't watch it anymore, right? This is dangerous. This is too hot to handle, right? This is goes against the narrative, whatever it is. So frustrating, so frustrating. Since when did YouTube become the doctor, right? You're not a doctor. You're a freaking video service, right? You post videos of cats falling down their asses all day, right? What gives YouTube the authority, the jurisdiction to prune and decide what scientific analyzation and evidence and theses are valid and correct, right? Every thesis is unproven by definition. So what the World Health Organization is saying, until they can really get, everything is a theory right now. But I guess there's good theories and there's bad theories, and they're actively taking down things as well, right? Stuff like if you say If you were to take, I don't want to get this one censored, it's probably censored already. If you were to say orange juice, right? That thing inside of orange juice, right? This is in their quote, YouTube statement. If you have any videos that tell people to drink a lot of orange juice for the thing that's inside of it, that is dangerous information. That's dangerous, and they could take your video down. Silencing silencing that point of view. I think anything that helps your immune system is sound advice. I didn't think that was dangerous. We're not like telling people to shoot up orange juice, right? We're not telling them to drink bleach. Made another video on that as well. But they're taking it down, and it's just super oppressive, scary censorship, right? It's not right. It's not cool. And if they're going to do that over this, when they've been doing this for a while, depending on other type of content you post, but if they're going to go like this drastic on something that affects everybody, I would think everybody has the right to know everything they should or everything they would want to learn about Corona, right? The good theories, the bad theories, the anecdote. Everything's anecdotal right now anyway. You have scientists who are very conflicted on this disease and how lethal it is. So why the hell has YouTube decided to pick one side and then at the same time shun the other and shut those voices down? Again, if they're going to do this over Corona, what else are they going to do? Is YouTube like a Snopes now? Or are they just going to political fact check everything? What happens when we get to the elections and to the debates that are coming up in a couple months, right? You could say they've been working on this for a while. You know, if Trump or Biden or whoever says something that's not true, right? Maybe it's a little bit of a stretch or fabrication, or heaven forbid, a politician lies. Are we going? Yes, they do this already. Like Facebook in particular, will go and fact check things. You know, I've seen it already firsthand. My friend will post like a funny meme, and then Facebook will take it down because this meme is not true. Like dogs don't talk or something. Like it's just like the censorship is out of control, and Corona is just highlighting all of this. And again, if they're going to go to this measure for something that again is so widespread, like I said, and affects so many people, what else is being censored, right? How far are they willing to go in the future? This is the same World Health Organization that has gone on record and said that Sweden, in their model for dealing with Corona, seems to be the ideal way to go forward, which is and then no quarantine, to go out into the open, right? Just make sure you wear like a little mask, wash your hands, keep your distance. But Sweden's model, and they're getting a lot of flack for this, is they haven't had a shutdown. And the World Health Organization said, this is what we need to be doing. That sounds a lot like what these doctors were saying who got their videos scrubbed from YouTube. But hey, do what I say, not what I'm, or what is it? Do what I say, not what I do, or whatever it is. It's bunk. The same World Health Organization that praised China for their handling of Corona, the same World Health Organization who's been bribed by China to try and whitewash how they handled the epidemic. That's the standard, right? That's what we're going to look to. And again, if you're not connected, if you don't toe that line, then you don't get to have an opinion on this. Wait a minute. They're saying, wait, failed entrepreneur. Wait a minute. They're a publisher. YouTube's a private platform. They can say whatever they can control whatever you say. You don't have to put your videos on there. Correct. I don't put videos on there. I put that's up there. Yes and no and no. Right. We're getting into this. Could be another video, but the publisher platform argument. Right. So basically, there's two ways that you can share and like host content or promote content. Publisher platform. Think of it like a sidewalk, for example, right? This comes from a Supreme Court case where they kind of weighed in on this issue. A sidewalk would be considered a platform, a public platform. Everybody has access to a sidewalk. You don't get charged to use the sidewalk. It's free for all to use, and walk wherever they want to and say whatever they want to on it. This is why protests are allowed to go on the streets in public cities, because the sidewalk, the street, is a platform. It's a place where they can go voice their opinion. We're not policing what they say. It's open to all and it's free to all, right? A publisher is something that prunes the content, the media that's on their platform, in their magazine, in their book, in their website, and YouTube, Facebook, places like that, Twitter. They are, of course, I understand, publicly owned tech companies, and these are, excuse me, my coffee. These are privately owned things, and so they can, you're right, choose who gets to use these things. However, that maybe in the beginning, if we go back to like the early 2000s, may hold water, but it's 2020, right? Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, things like these are free and open services. That it's just the way that we communicate now. And it may have been a private platform in the beginning, but as we are seeing, and I am arguing right now, if I don't get stricken down, is that things have changed, and this is how we talk right now, especially with quarantining and social distancing. We can't go and use the sidewalk anymore to talk and to promote our views, right? Some people are going out and protesting, obviously, right? But we can't do that. And so this is like the 21st century version of the sidewalk or the water cooler. Think of it like this is where we go to share ideas, and this is where we go to debate, and this is where we go to get information now, right? Newspapers are dying, obviously, because technology, the internet, is coming to replace that. So are you telling me as a publisher that you are checking every bit of content that comes on? If that's true, you're liable also for everything that gets put on here. And if something ever slips through the cracks, if something really nefarious ever comes down, as a publisher, you basically are giving it your stamp of approval, that you're okay with it, and therefore you take all responsibility if something bad happens, like, I don't know, threats or people getting off. This will happen sometimes. People will like live stream people getting murdered on Facebook or something like that, right? Well, as a publisher, if you let it go through, you're okay with that, and that's what you're promoting. Terrorism, right? ISIS, Al Qaeda, they use Twitter a lot to recruit and to spread their messages and do all that stuff. And a lot of times, these accounts, Twitter's either willfully ignore, doesn't seem to have a problem with it. They'll censor like certain members of Congress or a political party, people here and there. But, if you're a terrorist or whatever, that's okay. We'll let that slide. But talking about like Corona, I can't be doing that. So I think that doesn't hold water anymore, and things have changed. And if you're still pretending you're a publisher, I'm sorry. Congratulations. You got so big. You became such a monopoly. You're still widely used. You did a great job building up your service. But it's more of a platform now, I would argue, and to deny people access to that sidewalk, right, is not sustainable. It is not healthy, and I don't think silencing anybody for their views is a positive thing. If there's bad information, put it out there, get it out there. People are going to find it anyways. That way, people can hear about it. That way, people can actively debunk it, and then you can kill those stories effectively with information, right? Instead of pretending it doesn't exist. Don't look this way, look over here. It's just smoke and mirrors, and it's just a bunch of crap and bullshit. So, like, not happy with this. This is a dangerous precedent. YouTube, Google, who owns YouTube, China are pretty friendly with one another, and they were working actively. Dragon is what it was called, some kind of giant firewall search engine, Communist Party controlled search engine, basically, so they could really, really prune what the people in China see. And Google was like actively participating in that to try and actively silence and control what people in China see. This was a while ago, and so those lessons learned on how to better silence and how to better control the party line, you better believe they're using that as we speak right now. Corona, not to be conspiracy, I'm not saying it's some big, someone's twirling the mustache here, like, oh, Dr. Evil is gonna get $1 billion here, ransom YouTube or anything like that. But it's a slippery slope, and they're sliding in that direction. Absolute power corrupts, absolutely. And when you are the only big video service in town, right, or the only big social media service, like, you're gonna do whatever the strong do what they can, the weak do what they must. They're very strong right now, and so they're gonna flex their muscles a little bit and try and do what they think, I guess, is best for them. But it just screws everybody else over. Like I said, who's to say that these ER scientists, right, aren't correct? Who's to say in 2 or 3 years, turns out Corona was kind of a big, nothing in the end of it. And when you have all the data compiled, turns out the lethality of this thing is not at all what it was meant to be, or what it seemed to be in the beginning. But again, we may never know, because you may never see this video. A, no one watches my content anyways, but 2, it may be stricken down because I said the C word a couple times. Censorship, not Corona. All right, that's all for today. I gotta go. It's getting a little long. I got things to do. I know you do too. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.